I just have one thing to ask. If you have not registered for this event, if you could please do so now, we'd really appreciate it. There's a little link down at the bottom, and we want you to register. There's only 3 tiny little questions. I promise nothing else. But that helps us to know who you are and where you're from. So thank you very much. I just want to take a moment to recap a little bit about what we've been doing here. This is called the Rock of Faith Community Conversations, and this is week 3 of the Community Conversations. We've got some very special guests tonight, but we started out week 1 with Dr. Perrin and Dr. Saras talking about opiate addiction and what that looks like. Then the following week we had Pastor Kregg Burris and Ship Collins and Sharday Hollins talking about a little help for the parents and where they can go if they think their child is using drugs and alcohol, and also how the church can help, and you can reach out to your church or to First Baptist Church, and we'll do what we can. And then last weekend we were really, really blessed with Project Dawn that came up to our parking lot and helped us to hand out Narcan kits as well as charcoal bags for people that needed to get rid of drugs. I think we handed out about 30 Narcan kits, somewhere around there, and a lot of charcoal bags. So we're hoping to continue that next year. And then next week, we will be ending this entire event of the Community Conversations with our annual Rock of Faith concert on September 26th at 7 p.m. on the same channel. So we hope you tune in. Tonight I'd like to start with my panel of 4 young people that I have sitting over here to my left, and I'd like to introduce them. The first one over here is Jamila Hardy, and I work with Jamila Hardy. She works with me at Stella Maris. She is going to share a little bit of her story, and then sitting right next to her is Chelsea Puda. She also works at Stella Maris, and just for other people looking for employment that are in recovery, Stella Maris is a place that hires people in recovery that maybe don't have such a great background. We're good with that. The next one over is Jacob Root, and Jacob actually is one of our alum from Stella Maris. He just recently graduated. Are you in aftercare? You're done. You're completed. He completed, yes. And then next to him is Simon Pereira. And they're going to share a little bit with you tonight about their story and how things were for them before they came to Stella Maris and what things are like for them now. And when they're finished, then I'm going to introduce this gentleman off to my left, which is Brian Bayless, and we'll get back to him. So let's start with Jamila.
Okay, so welcome everyone, and thank you for tuning in. Carol gave you a little background about me. My name is Jamila Hardy. I do work at Stella Maris currently. I'm also employed by Thrive Behavioral Health. So I started off in a very unhealthy neighborhood. I grew up in a dysfunctional family, and eventually I just turned to the street life, and it took me places that I thought I'd never go, and I did some things that I said I would never do. And I remember just feeling like I was in complete darkness and I couldn't find my way back to the light. And at a certain point in my life, I began to get really tired, and I started reaching out for help, So for those of you that feel like you're in the dark and can't get back to the light, there are so many places out here that you could reach out to, and so many people that will hold their hand out and try and help you get back up, So, I would suggest that you all never give up. In a general way, what it was like a roller coaster, up, down, up, down, up, down. And I felt like I was on this ride and I couldn't get off, So I've been to prison twice. Speaking of not so good backgrounds, I've been in and out of the county jail several times. I've been in every different treatment center in the city of Cleveland, except for the newer ones anyway. I lost custody of my children. 5 miscarriages. I've been robbed at gunpoint. I've been in an 8-year abusive relationship. And that list can go on, but I'm sure it would probably take up the entire hour. And that's, in a general way, what it was like for me. I found out that Stella Maris had meetings every day, almost every hour, and I started walking down to the treatment center, and I started surrounding myself around people who were trying to build a relationship with the God of their understanding. I had no idea what that was and what that looked like, but I became open-minded, you know. I was in so much pain when I got into recovery that I was willing to do whatever it took. You know, whatever they told me to do, I followed the directions. I allowed other people to have input in my decision making, and my life started to take a change. It started to, you know, I started to grow in areas that I didn't know were there, you know. And eventually I graduated from treatment out of Stella Maris, and I got a job working in the detoxification unit. And I did that for a couple years, and my boss, Carol Nagus, she seen something in me that I didn't see in myself. And she started helping me elevate. She started telling me how much I needed to, you know, build on my recovery, gain certifications, and learn more about this field that I'm in. She really encouraged me to do more, you know, and I eventually got a promotion from detox, and now I'm a counselor in the partial hospitalization program. Stella Maris is my foundation. It's where I built my foundation of recovery and learning how to grow spiritually and help other people. So all those traumatic events that I went through didn't go in vain, because now I'm able to use those situations to help other women succeed. I found out that life really isn't, you know, success really isn't about what you can obtain or materialistic items. It has more to do with what you're able to overcome, you know. And so that's what's important to me. Things that are not perishable, you know, my self-worth and my self-respect and the way I treat other people. Someone asked me a question, and it was, if I died tomorrow, what would people say? And that's how I try to live my life on a daily basis, you know, so that people can remember me for dedicating my life to helping other people, like Stella Maris has helped me, you know. And so all my time is dedicated to helping other people. I believe that my higher power did not get me sober to serve myself. I believe he got me sober so that I can serve him by helping other people. And that is my life. That is what I do. That is what I enjoy. That is what I'm good at, you know. I can sit here and tell you all the great things that recovery has afforded me, but these are experiences that you would have to have on your own, you know. By reaching out to someone and getting the help that you need, allowing somebody to have input in your decision making, throwing your hands up saying, I don't know anymore. That is where the change started to take place. As long as I still had thoughts and ideas on how to run my own life and what I need to do, my life continued to be chaotic. It was only when I allowed the people that were successful at this before me to show me what to do, tell me where to go. And that's when my life started to change. I come from the projects on West 28th. And I would have never thought that in a short period of time, I got almost 6 years sober, that I've been able to leave this country, you know, go to other countries and speak and share my experience, strength, and hope with other people. You know, if you're young, most people don't think you know, most people say when you're young, you know, you still feel like you're invincible, like you got all this time left. Well, I'm here to tell you. She introduced us as being young. I'm 38, and I feel every bit of 38. I'm not young anymore. But the truth of the matter is, it's not a lot of time. I looked up, and 15 years had gone, and half of those years I don't even remember. you know. You can get sober even no matter how old you are if you're willing to follow. Every good leader starts off following someone else, you know. I want to thank you all for having me. I want to thank you all for listening. With that, I pass.
Hello, everyone. My name is Chelsea, and I'm a grateful recovering addict. My clean date is 8/8/2015, and one of the things that when I was invited to do this, I wanted to talk a lot about honesty and how, I started using when I was about 15 years old, and it wasn't the stuff that most teenagers use. It got heavy quickly, and it progressed very quickly. And one of the things that the disease of addiction just does not discriminate, and it doesn't care where you come from, because just like Jamila stated before me, her family, her lifestyle, that's not my background. My background was I grew up with two parents that were very much supportive. I was very involved in school, got good grades, all of that stuff, but it didn't stop me from using, and it didn't stop me from becoming the addict that I was, an active user. And the one thing that I noticed, especially looking back on it, is the fact that around 15, I started noticing my thoughts were different. I started having these really depressed thoughts and almost like suicidal thoughts, and I wasn't willing to get honest with myself or anyone else. I would get halfway there. They would offer counseling in high school, and I would attend those sessions, but I wasn't really honest with that person because I didn't want to tell them. I didn't want to tell them what I was using. I didn't want to tell them what I was doing after school, because I enjoyed leading a double life. I enjoyed being this golden child to my family, but also being this using person that, was kind of living life dangerously. And all that lying did was just dig me deeper into my addiction. And it got me into places that I feel, should have never been part of my story, but they are. And just like Jamila shared, I've also had my experience with trauma in my life, going through just my teens and putting myself in risky situations that were unnecessary, but I did it because for me, my addiction took me to that place where I had to get up and I had to use. And if I didn't have something to use, I had to find ways and means to get more money so I could use. And it wasn't until I just got so sick and tired of being sick and tired that, I got called out on what I was doing, and someone told my mom. I was about, I would say 18 or 19 years old, and my mom just asked me straight up. She said, "Chelsea, is this what you're doing?" And I didn't have it anymore. I had no more fight in me to deny it, to lie about it. I just said yes, and I don't know what to do about it, because at that point of my addiction, I thought suicide was the only way out. And that's really what I want to talk about, and that's why I got into the business of, helping another recovering addict, because I don't want anyone to live their life thinking that if they have a drug problem that the only way out is to commit suicide, because it's not. With me getting honest, that first step there, I was able to get into treatment at an early age, and I was willing. I was willing to listen to all the suggestions and to really take it in. And it's hard because at 19, 20 years old, I still felt like I was invisible. Still today, I sometimes feel that way. And, some of the things I didn't understand at the time, but I knew when they told me to just have faith in the process, that trust the process, I had to do it. So the same suggestions that I learned, 7 years ago when I was in treatment, I apply those to today. I go to meetings, I have a sponsor, I work the steps. The best thing that I've heard when I was in treatment was just to talk about it. So my issues with being honest with others has gone out the window, because now whenever a thought goes through my mind, I just talk about it. I have to, because if I don't talk about it, I'm going to obsess over it and I'm going to act on it. And, recovery has brought me more blessings than I've ever thought. I never thought I would make it past the age of, 25. Just the way my life was going. And because of being in recovery and just taking baby steps towards being a responsible member of society, I was able to get to where I want to be today, which is to help another recovering addict, to be able to be a part of Stella Maris and other treatment facilities, to just share my experience, strength, and hope, and show that there's another way to live. You know, that jails, institutions, and death doesn't have to be the only three options, that there's a fourth option, and it's finding a new way of life and a new hope. And the other thing I want, you know, just the discrimination part too, of it doesn't matter where you grew up or how life was. You know, I was destined to be an addict, in my opinion. The choice that I have today, because that's what my sponsor told me, and she had me write it in my basic text, is the only real power I have today is the power of choice. So today I can choose to be either a recovering addict or a using addict. And every day that I choose to be a recovering addict is a miracle for me, because my normal is to be using. So every day that I go against the grain, it's a miracle, and I'm blessed to be able to sit here today and share my experience with others, and to just be on this panel with wonderful people who know the process and who have gone through the same kind of experiences that I have. And that's really all I have, so I appreciate it. Thank you.
I'm Jake. I'm an alcoholic. Also a heroin addict. A little bit about me. I'm from Parma. I'm 22 years old. A little bit about what it was like for me. I started using when I was about 13 or 14. You could never really tell me that I had a problem because I got good grades in school. I behaved somewhat decent, and I didn't really get in trouble that much. But behind the scenes, I was always trying to sell something. I was always trying to go do what I wanted to do. You know, I'd get input from people in my life, and I'd blatantly tell people why it wasn't going to work and why I was smarter than them. And I ended up paying the price for that. Around 18 years old, I started using opiates. I got addicted to heroin. And I tried a lot of different things to get sober. I tried moving down to Florida before, and that didn't work. As soon as a drink got pushed my way, I was blackout drunk that night and every night after. I lost control in what I was doing. I ended up coming back up here, and I overdosed with a family member of mine, and he died. You know, Jamila, and they talked about feeling invincible, and that's how I felt. You know, that's what I thought I was. I thought I was invincible. I thought nothing could touch me. I also thought I wasn't going to be a heroin addict at 18 years old. I watched other family members do the same thing, and never thought that was going to be me until I looked back and I was the same person, you know, that I looked up to other people and said I'd never do it. So I did a lot of messed up stuff when I was getting high. You know, I stole from people that loved me, people that would never turn their back on me, and that ended up making it. I caught a case because of it, and that was the best thing that happened to me looking back on it. You know, I came into treatment shortly after I caught the case because I knew it would look good for my case. But at the same time, I didn't want to get high anymore. I didn't want to use and abuse the only people that would never turn their back on me and love me. And I say I love them, but my actions never showed it. You know, and I have a disease, and that's why my actions could never show it. You know, I can't get honest with myself about certain things. I never want to talk about how I'm thinking and feeling because I want to act like I'm tough. I want to act like I'm invincible, but I'm not. You know, on the inside, I'm a very soft individual, and I never want to get honest about that. So I come into treatment, and I had to have other people have input on my life. You know, I had to write down on a piece of paper some of the nasty and you know, some of the nasty things that I did, some of the people I was mad at, and then, you know, part of the process I have to go and I have to, you know, make amends to those people, you know, apologize, pay people money back that I owe them, and then not just that, but continue to live a better way of life, because there's certain things that I can say sorry for all I want, but my actions are really what shows it. You know, me doing what I'm supposed to on a daily basis now. I have a couple of people that I work with that I take through the steps. I consistently try to see where I can give back and help other people just like other people help me. You know, I come and I do stuff like this. I go up to detox, share my experience. And when I'm doing what I'm supposed to, I have peace of mind and serenity, which is something that I never have and something that I looked for since I picked up at the age of 13. You know, this is the feeling that I've always wanted, and you know, I thought I was going to get it by using drugs and alcohol, and that never worked for me. The only thing that's worked for me is letting somebody have input on my life, and you know, giving back and helping other people in the best way that I can. And that's all I got. With that, I pass.
Hey guys, my name is Simon. I'm an alcoholic and a drug addict. I actually grew up in Wisconsin. Milwaukee, Green Bay, Wisconsin. I was raised by my mother, who is someone like us. She's a drug addict as well, and I, you know, I grew up a lot of the times we slept outside. From what I can remember, a lot of times we slept outside. I've seen my mother overdose, and I've seen a lot of things. I didn't really go to school. I was never really in school. I never went to high school. I was just running the streets with my mom for a long time until I started going to jail myself. So the thing is that I continued to do what I wanted to do. I kept following me. After seeing all that, I always told myself, this is the only way I know, and this is all I'm going to ever be. And the results of that were me. I've been in jails. I've seen, like Jamila, I've seen a lot of inside of jail cells. I've seen a lot of rehabilitation centers, and I've seen a lot of death, and I've seen a lot of terrible things because of my choices, because of what I wanted to do. I ended up overdosing 9 times. I've been a heroin addict for a long time. The first time I got high was with my mother, and I've put myself through a lot of crap, and it's been terrible, man. I have a 3-year-old daughter. She just turned 4, but at the time I had a 3-year-old daughter, and I was struggling with addiction and trying to raise her before I came into Stella Maris. I moved up here to Cleveland because my grandmother, when I was in prison, came and took me in. And I've never met these people before, and they had a little bit of money, and they tried to show me a better way to live. They tried to show me a different life. And so whatever I had, because I thought and I believed that since people had money and had cars and all of those things, I was going to be able to live a better life. And I did nothing but continue to do what I did and worse. I continued to take from my grandmother. I continued to hurt a lot of people. So before I came into Stella Maris, man, I didn't come into Stella Maris because I thought it was a good idea. I didn't come into Stella Maris because someone else told me to. I came into Stella Maris because I had no other option. I had no other bridges to burn. I kept overdosing. I had a 3-year-old looking at me, crying, asking me to help, and I couldn't do it. So I came into Stella Maris because I had no other options. I came into Stella Maris really mangled, really messed up. But Stella Maris really, it saved my life. It was the best opportunity I've ever got for a chance of hope. I've been into a lot of detox facilities. I've been into a lot of rehab places, and this time I was just hurt. I was hurt enough. They told me to go to further treatment, and I did. And I started listening to somebody else. I stopped running my own life. And through this process of working steps and being able to be sober, just a year, I've been able to see my mother sober. My mother got cancer. She got stage 2 breast cancer. And when I told my support group, who I met down at Stella Maris, when I told them that, they got the rental car and they got the hotel room, and we went down to Green Bay, Wisconsin. I got to see my mother sober. I was able to look at her in her face, and I was able to make the amends like Jake was talking about. And it was like something I would never even dream of happening. It was amazing. It was just something totally unreal. It was literally a miracle. And those are the results of what I get when I start listening to somebody else, because I haven't been able to run my own life ever, because the results are always I end up in detox, or I end up overdosing, or I end up in jail, and it's terrible. So now I have to listen to somebody else, and when I listen to these people, I get good results. I run into some bumps. I run into some bumps all the time. I screw up and I do the wrong thing, but I always have a way out. And something I never wanted to do was believe in a power greater than myself, and rely on anybody else. I always wanted to rely on Simon. And now that I can rely on somebody else's thinking and something else, it's a miracle. And somebody like me, who was begging for money on the street, who was sleeping on the street, unbathed, teeth not brushed, just looking terrible, can now help somebody else in this process. People are asking me, who are older than me, younger than me, asking me to help them save their lives and put these 12 steps in their life. And it's like a purpose that I've never... It's amazing. Like how Jake said, I can sit down by myself and have peace, ease, and comfort. I'm not worried about anything. I'm okay with myself, because I'm able to sacrifice for other people. I can help other people, and it's just something. I never thought that I could amount to anything. I never thought anything of myself. I always thought that this is what it's going to be. This is what's always going to be. And all the things that I hated my mother for, I did the same thing, and I became a worse monster. And now it's unbelievable what this process has done for me, man. And what Stella Maris has started off, like Jamila said, the foundation I built there is what has saved my life. And I learned there that I have to listen to somebody else, because when I listen to me, I screw up pretty bad. And it's amazing. The things that I've gained in this process are amazing. The materialistic things are awesome, and the money's great, but the thing is that I can be comfortable with myself. You know, if you guys think that, you know, you're in such a situation that's so terrible, please listen to me and tell me that it can get better for a person like me. It can get better for anybody. You know what I'm saying? I'm not different than anybody. No one's different than me, and it always can get better. So now, I mean, I moved out of treatment. I bought my own house, and I work a job like I would always see people driving in cars. Like, how do they do that? How do they get a car? And I'm like, and I'm driving in my own car and paying my own phone bills. It's just things that were just totally unreachable for me. You know, it's just amazing. So if anybody's doubting themselves, please don't, because I've been there and it sucks, and it kept me stuck for a very long time. And that's all I have.
Wow. I really want to thank you guys for coming out and doing this for us. You know, you are, all four of you are incredible. You're just incredible miracles. I'm just feeling like really blessed to know you all and get to know you a little bit better. Just really blessed that I asked the four of you. What a perfect group. Anyway, I want to take a moment and introduce the gentleman that's sitting next to me. This is Brian Bayless. And a little bit about Brian. Brian was a certified public accountant since 1983. In 1993, he formed the Bayless Group, a consulting firm to provide tax and financial planning services. He has also been involved in many aspects of private equity, including investments, analysis, due diligence, transaction structure, and negotiations. In 2015, Brian founded Ascent, a continuing care solution for people in recovery from substance abuse disorders and mental health diagnoses. The genesis of the Ascent solution was based on Brian's experience in treatment, and Ascent began by combining an evidence-based model mobile app with 24/7, 365-day peer recovery coaching, and in 2017 began to expand to live face-to-face peer recovery coaching. Thus evolved Thrive ED, Thrive Emergency Department, FKA Ascent ED, where peer coaches began providing round-the-clock peer recovery support to individuals in the Metro Health Cleveland, Ohio Emergency Department. In early 2018, Brian formed a partnership with Thrive Behavioral Health and Thrive Peer Support. This has allowed Thrive to provide peer support to Medicaid-eligible patients across Ohio and begin to advocate on behalf of those in recovery. Brian has spoken at various opiate and recovery-related panels and has been part of a multiple opiate and behavioral health task force in Ohio. Brian advocates for the individual in recovery and their family, and Brian is a father of 3 grown children and a grandfather of 6. And I know this to be true because I have watched all of it, and it is incredible. 6 years ago. It's amazing to me what you have done. You are such a powerful example of what you can do to help other people in recovery. And I'm really, really blessed to have him here tonight to talk to you just about what he does and how he can help you. So I'm going to turn it over to Brian.
Thank you, Carol. First of all, I want to say wow, too. You were incredible. I mean, your stories this evening are going to help people. And, I'm grateful that you asked me to be here and that I got to hear your stories. Congratulations to all of you. So my name is Brian Bayless. I'm a person in recovery. As Carol said, I started my career in public accounting, had my own consulting practice until about 6 years ago, when I had a very bad relapse on alcohol. Nobody has a good one, but I had a pretty bad one. That was coupled with debilitating depression and off-the-charts anxiety. I bounced around treatment, and I ended up in a partial hospitalization program. And that partial hospitalization program saved my life. I was in that room with 7 other people, and we were very much alike. The only difference between me and them was socioeconomic. I was the only person that had a job. I literally couldn't get my head off the table. And the people in that room, they told me I was worth something. They breathed this much hope into me, and they really helped me to get back to where I was. And I appreciated what the the clinician was doing. I mean, he was absolutely terrific, but it was the peers in that room that really helped to bring me back. I knew that they knew exactly what I was going through, and that was the game changer for me. So I got my smile back, I got my confidence back, and I was back. I was feeling okay. And unfortunately, 6 of the 7 people in that room relapsed. Well, I knew my career was over, and I didn't know what I was going to do next, so I had plenty of time on my hands. And the only thing I knew about recovery is that I was in it. But I talked to some of the foremost experts, and what the experts told me is that the gap in treatment is continuing care. What do people do after they get out of treatment? And so we developed a continuing care solution. I had an incredible partner in New Directions and the Cuyahoga County Alcohol and Drug Board were participating, were very helpful. And so we built this mobile app. We actually licensed the mobile app. And then we put it together with peer support, and it worked, really terrific. And we were able to receive a couple years later some additional dollars, and we tried this concept in the emergency room at Metro Health. And the concept was, let's see if we can help people to get into treatment after they overdose. So we actually are in the emergency room, and it was wildly effective. And we saw 1,200 people in our first year, and we got quite a few of those people into treatment. So that's, a little bit of the genesis of the story, but I'd like to talk a little bit about peer support now. What peer support is people that have a mental health diagnoses or, some substance use disorder that are looking for help. And that help is provided by people with lived experience. And it really works. And they build trust, very, very quickly. And the job of a peer supporter is to provide the support that a person needs, and the goal is for them to become independent. So peer supporters may take somebody to meeting. They may help make a referral to some other services that they may need. They may help them get, funding that they may need, Medicare or Medicaid, to be able to sign up for presumptive Medicaid. There's all sorts of things that peer supporters do. And, there's a number of studies that have demonstrated the efficacy of peer support. And what comes of that is lower recidivism, fewer emergency room visits, better whole health. It allows people to get back to where they want to be, to achieve some of those goals. Like Simon said, he can't believe where he is today. That's what our goal is. And the gift of Thrive for me, and it is a gift, is that I get to watch some of that success. And we all know how challenging it is, and they're not all success. But to be able to watch some of that success is absolutely incredible, to watch people, go from these really low bottoms to getting their life back. It's so exciting to see somebody get their first job, or to see somebody get their first car, or their first apartment, or their children back. And that happens. We get to see that a lot because fortunately we've had the opportunity to help a lot of people. And, that comes with some amazing people. And one of the other gifts about Thrive for me is I get to work with the most incredible people. They are so passionate about wanting to make a difference in other people's lives. You can see it in their eyes, and you can watch their behaviors. I get to work with people like Jamila, and, that's a gift. That's a gift. So I feel, just incredibly fortunate. And we've had the opportunity to grow quite a bit as a company. We started in 2018 with 6 people. We have 130 now. Most of those are peer supporters and we hire people with challenging backgrounds too. They make the best peer supporters. We all have history and backgrounds. So it's, it's really a gift. We've actually helped over 4,600 people, individuals, throughout the past couple of years. We're currently in 9 hospitals. We just started in University Hospital. When COVID came into play, we implemented tele-peer support. And so now we still peer support live, but those that aren't comfortable for a myriad of reasons can get tele-peer support. And that can be done by either Zoom or it can be done on the telephone. So there's lots of opportunities for peer support. We also did some peer support in the Cuyahoga County Jail with a medication-assisted treatment program. And that was very effective until when COVID hit, we weren't no longer allowed in the jail, and hopefully we'll be able to get back in soon. But, you know, our goal at Thrive is to help as many people as we can. Our primary focus is making sure that we take care of the people that get referred to us. Our secondary focus at Thrive is make sure that we take care of the people that work at Thrive. And we're very proud of that. We have, you know, excellent compensation. We have excellent benefit programs. I mean, we have excellent supervisors to be able to make sure that our peer supporters stay healthy. You know, we really work hard on that because it's, you know, it's their health that is going to help all those thousands of people that we've had the opportunity to work with. So how do you get peer support? So it's very, very simple. One is we get a lot of referrals from treatment agencies like Stella. They make referrals because what we're doing is typically we're providing peer support when somebody's coming out into the community. That's when we provide the peer support. So that's, you know, that continuing care solution. Typically, we would like to peer support somebody up to a year. People don't necessarily stay with us that long, and some people don't need to stay with us that long. But that's pretty much the goal. And to be able to sign up, if you're an individual and you're watching this evening and you might be interested in peer support, what you can do is go on to the thrivepeersupport.com website, and you can actually do a self-referral. So all you have to do is click on the tab that says referral, and it says self-referral, and it will walk you through the process. What we do after you've contacted us is we're going to have somebody contact you and actually do an assessment so that we determine what level of care that you need, and we're going to also put together a treatment plan for you, and then we're going to connect you with a peer supporter, somebody like you. It's males with males and females with females. And, you know, we'd be happy to do that. We provide peer support throughout the state of Ohio. We're currently active in, I think, 30 counties. We have individuals that we've worked with in 68 counties. And for those counties that we don't have somebody physically there, we can provide tele-peer support. So, you know, we'd love to help you. And again, that's at thrivepeersupport.com. One other thing I'd like to talk about is employment at Thrive. Sadly, with COVID, the demand for services have never been as great. We see a tremendous increase in mental health diagnoses and mental health challenges, especially depression and anxiety. Unfortunately, suicides are up, overdoses are up. So the demand for our services has increased dramatically. And we are really looking for people that are passionate about helping other people. We have all the training. We actually have our own training. We've worked with the state. They've allowed us to put on our own training to make sure that people can get certified. We take you through a Thrive training as well to teach you, some of the things that you're going to need to learn. And, we would be more than happy to help you onto a career. And again, I'm sure some of you watching say, well, I've got this background and it may not work. Well, more than likely it will. But, you have to contact us, and you can do that also through our website for opportunities. There are multiple opportunities, employment opportunities that are posted. And, we would welcome having the opportunity to chat with you about becoming a Thriver. So that's all I really have to talk about. I don't know if you have any questions, Carol, or if we're all set here. But again, thank you so much for asking me today.
I don't know if we have any questions out there. Do we have any questions? Nope, nobody's asked any questions. Okay. All right, well, that's great. Thank you, Brian. Thank you very much for sharing. I think it's important to know that if you're out there and you're struggling right now, to reach out for peer support, or as we've talked on all these other sessions, go to your church, come to this church, go reach out to someone else you might know in recovery, come down to Stella Maris, whatever. There are plenty of places that will help you. And the community needs to know that, Brian talked briefly on this, but, since COVID-19 in March, suicide rates as well as opiate overdoses have increased almost 30%. And that's because the community was shut down. And, people in recovery need community. That's where they get their hope. And so we really hope that if you're out there and you need help, that you'll reach out, and there is hope. Like all of these young people have told you, there's hope out there. You don't have to keep doing what you're doing. Again, I'd like to thank Sade Hollins from RTC for making this all possible, for us doing these community conversations. I'd like to thank you all for coming and sharing your stories with us tonight. I hope that you all tune into the Rock of Faith, our annual rock concert that tells the story of addiction. And that is a story that started from my story, and I created it telling my story of addiction using rock music. It's not Christian music, it's rock music. Good old rock and roll, okay? A lot of people get confused with that Rock of Faith thing. And I talk about the transformation of the soul. So we hope you join us next Saturday, and starts at 7 o'clock on the same channel. And that's it. That's a wrap, I think.